So
Andrew?
Daiwat and Miral helped us get Moonswap to demoable. Like we have, so Daiwat and Miral, what they were working on was getting a swap to show up, creating a swap. So this is going to be run from. This is not exactly dog food. It's going to be run from local hosts on Daiwat's end. Uh, we'll just see the process go through. Daiwat, you can share your screen and forget.
Yeah, sure. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. My first dog food. Uh, why does this not go away? Anyway. So basically, this is where you can create a swap. Uh, this is the address of the party A. This is the address of party B. Uh, this is where you input the address for the token contract for the first token. This is where you input the address for the token for the second token. So I'm gonna go ahead and just input the addresses for two dummy token contracts for now. Uh, and this is self-explanatory. You just input whatever value you want to swap. So person A wants to swap one, whatever this token is. Person B wants to swap that with two of whatever this token is, and you create a new swap. MetaMask will ask you, do you approve this contract to move your tokens? You say yes, and then another contract interaction, and there we go. We have created a swap. I don't know if that made much sense, but yeah.
It did. It's good.
So that's the first half of the story, and then what we'll be continuing with it is the other party accepting the swap, and of course, as Ryan was saying, for next we're aiming for next dog food to have two multi-sigs exchange tokens.
Yeah.
Drinkabee, yeah. Like I think we can do it on Drinkabee or Mumbai, right?
Yeah, Polygon sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, on Polygon mainnet is fine by me. So part of the story that this plays into is another Moonshot Collective project, which is the retroactive public goods funding starter kit, which will be tooling to allow every project, every Moonshot project, every project that aims to be a free digital public good to mint tokens of their own, have a little DAO thing, have a multi-sig, and give those tokens to the contributors that build the project so that a funder like Optimism or Gitcoin or anybody who chooses to can determine at some far later date that enough public benefit has been accrued that it's worth $1 million, and then go on an open market like a Uniswap and buy up all of those tokens. So
is that the season one, like, or is that something that's coming in for?
that's active. That's active right now for season 1 for sure.
Okay.
Carl from Optimism has asked us to. I don't know if I'm allowed to be announcing this. So I think it's safe for us to say that we are building tooling for them to evaluate for their process for retroactive public goods funding.
Got it. That's super cool. So like, how do you want to see Moonswap come into that? Like, could you just explain it a bit more?
So I'm thinking that my project on D grants, the coordination beacon, it's going to have its own multi-sig full of coordination beacon tokens, and it's going to execute a token swap with a multi-sig that's holding tokens for Tip Party. And so Tip Party will be holding coordination beacon tokens, coordination beacon DAO multi-sig will be holding tip party tokens. And then when Optimism inevitably steps in to buy up all our tokens because of all the public goods benefit that we've given, then that will fund the treasuries and the contributors of those projects.
Got it.
So
Got
for
it.
Moonswap, I'd like to see Moonswap sit in between those two multisigs and execute that swap.
So a question, right now the multi-sigs that I did create was just using Gnosis save. Did you
Yeah.
want like we kind of somehow build that functionality in?
Well, like, is anything missing? Like in my story, I think just a Gnosis multisafe is like legit for that story, unless I misunderstood something.
No, that sounds good.
So like what Fahim is saying, that you will have to deploy the contracts yourself, right, for the ERC20. So what Fahim is asking is that is that something you'd like to see in Moonswap itself?
Yeah,
No. Moonswap can assume that the users of Moonswap have already created the ERC20s.
Got it.
okay.
Yeah,
so like
and
one
then
thing-
any
yes, sorry to interrupt you.
challenges you have or anything that you would want for that story, for the multi-sig and the ERC20s that will live in it, any challenges or requirements or whatever, please write them down so that we can get those considerations into the development for the retroactive starter kit.
And it's going to be on a Trello board, right? Because the stuff you mentioned, like, yeah, it should. I've noted some of it, but yeah.
Yes, you are correct that I have been negligent in writing those details down.
So one thing I wanted to ask is, do you think an auction mechanism would be helpful? Because I was thinking about it, but I was not sure how useful it would be.
I remember you describing the auction mechanism, and I remember being impressed by how clever it is. So let me just run through how I remember it. It's that
sure.
if DAO A and DAO B execute a swap with each other, then third party C can come in and say, I will buy these tokens at an even higher rate.
Yeah, that is kind of it. Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we will store like an expiry time for the swaps, and the idea is that anyone or any DAO can essentially bid up the price as they want. Like it's a free market. It's sort of that an analogy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's cool and it's clever, but I don't know that if my DAO is making a partnership with another DAO, that I really want the market to get involved.
So
it's
it
like a
wouldn't be
private
like all swaps, right? It would be just if the user creating the swap would have the option of putting it on deal. Like I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. So like
Yeah.
if they specify like a token out party, that means that only that particular address can swap, right? So what I'm talking about are what I'm calling the free market swaps, or like open market swaps, which essentially anyone is eligible for. So like these are two separate systems, so to say.
Yeah, the open market swap is more of like a DeFi product market offering. It's like a bigger, cooler thing. Is anyone doing anything like that? Like where are the auction houses right now?
That's a good point.
Yeah, see if you can find some prior art. For right now, I think the most important thing for the future of Moonswap is that one use case, the DAO to DAO partnership use case, and then going out and getting DAOs that want to sign on and do it, and just battle testing it against real users. The auction thing is super cool, but it's like I'm reasonably confident that DAO partnerships aren't going to be requesting that as a feature, because that's not a partnership mechanism. That's like an auction mechanism.
And also with the partnership, I'm assuming once a swap occurs, there should be some sort of mechanism for doing recurring swaps.
Okay. That was the original idea, is that it does long-term swaps with cost value averaging over time. And so these swaps, these are atomic individual swaps, right? They're like executed once and they're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I would be more interested in long-term cost value averaging swaps than the auction mechanism, but more important than any feature is getting it in front of users who want to use it.
Got it, got it. So like the expiry thing is something we have to add anyway. So it's kind of like let's say that a multi-sig makes a swap and they just forget about it. Then someone 10 years down the line shouldn't be able to execute the swap. So like just kind of a precaution against that, we should probably add an expiry. So that's what I'll do.
Expiry by time is probably less that could lead to surprises. You probably want expiry by like active expiry. So like if either of the DAOs decide that they don't want to do it anymore, then either of them can end the swap and return everybody their funds.
I mean, the second party doesn't need to do. So like basically the first thing is already done, where the first party, if they don't want the swap to happen, they can just call a function and then it just returns them the tokens. So that is done, I guess.
Okay, cool. The rage quit.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so we're looking at this dog fooding on Daiwat's local machine. So you created the swap contract.
Yeah.
And was I hearing that executing it is not yet coded out, or?
Yeah, so executing it, as in the committing, is not done yet. So this is basically the creation of the new swap. And I think what we're working on is to kind of support all ERC20 contracts because that's how Moonswap
Yeah.
is. So that's basically what we have been working on first, just to get the important things out of the way.
I guess
Awesome.
the ERC20 thing is done because me and Miral just coded it in.
Yeah, exactly. Like I told them this at like 3 hours ago, and they have been on it since then. So yeah, like they've been working really hard, and it's really hard. Like it's great to see some new folks here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
appreciate
Welcome. Your first dog fooding. How's it feel?
Yeah, it's like honestly like it's like nothing I've ever been in before. So just trying to absorb all of the things coming my way. Honestly,
It stays that way. Well, thank you very much, Daiwat.